It is an outrage, friends. We've lost hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland due to poisoning of the soil. It's getting so bad that even the New York Times just put out an article on it. Now, we've talked about it here before, but I want you to hear it from them. I want you to hear what's happening, why it's happening, and how all the experts were wrong yet again. Hundreds of thousands of acres, friends. We're not talking about a small thing here. And we will cover a bunch of your reports and a heartwarming testimony from someone who had a life-threatening emergency, but was prepared because of what they heard on this channel. Friends, let's get into your updates. This is going to be a great one. Thanks so much for joining with us. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over about what's going on out there. And even this New York Times article was actually sent in by you guys to review. And absolutely, we've talked about it on this channel, but such important stuff. If you have updates, please use the word update in your comment on this video or on any video on this channel that gets to the right place. And make sure you give some sort of geographical location if that's relevant to what you're saying. Before we dive in, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They have retirement account capabilities. So you can get silver, you can get gold, you can choose anything from cheap rounds or even bars, cheap bars of silver like kilos or whatever. So you get really low premiums. Or you can go with higher premium stuff. You can make those choices in your retirement account. Physical metal that belongs to you. You'll know exactly what it is. And then when time comes to get the distribution out, you take it straight from the bank, straight to your home. No cash, just your precious metals. If you want to find out more about that, there'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, let's start off here with the New York Times article here. This is not word for word, but let's hit the salient points here. So, for years, the U.S. government has been promoting the use of municipal sewage sludge as fertilizer. And to make it even better, they've been calling this fertilizer organic. Because it's not chemicals, you see. It's just sewage. That's why everyone's always been like, oh, I really like this, organic lettuce and this organic tomatoes and organic, and I'm always kind of like, you know what they use to fertilize? I'd rather fertilizer that comes from natural gas than fertilizer that comes from human waste. That's just a personal preference of mine. And it helps that to not have poo cabbage is going to be cheaper for me as well. So I not only do I not buy organic, I not buy organic with extreme prejudice. All right. Make sure you wash that stuff thoroughly because that's exactly what's been happening. Sewage sludge as fertilizer on vast tracts of farmland. Now, it's not just that it's poo, human poo, but it's worse. This sludge, rich in nutrients, oh yummy, organic, was seen as a beneficial alternative to dumping it in landfills. However, recent studies are revealing that this sewage sludge, which originates from both household and industrial waste, often contains high levels of forever chemicals, PFAS. These chemicals, known for their persistence in the environment, are linked to increased cancer risks, birth defects, and developmental issues in children. These toxic compounds found in products ranging from non-stick cookware to waterproof clothing are now contaminating farmland nationwide, including states like Texas, Maine, Michigan, New York, and Tennessee. The presence of these chemicals has not only raised concerns about the health of the farmers, but also the safety of their livestock and the crops. You're not kidding. In some instances, suggested harm to animals and contamination of the produce. So the widespread contamination of agricultural lands by these chemicals is just beginning to be fully understood. Yeah. In Michigan, to give you some idea of the scope of this, in Michigan, one of the initial states to examine chemicals and sludge used as fertilizer, authorities closed a farm after discovering unusually high levels of these substances in the soil. and where the livestock were grazing. This year, the state permanently banned agricultural use of the land. Can't use the land anymore. However, Michigan has not expanded these tests to other farms due... Why aren't we testing the other farms? Due in part to worries about the financial impact on the agricultural sector when they discover the same chemicals all over the place. It's so bad that, this is kind of where I started reporting on this, back in 2022, Maine became the first state to prohibit the application of sewage sludge on farmland. Why? Because they started testing their farms and realized how much garbage was getting thrown onto these farms. So far, over 68 out of 100 plus farms examined in Maine have shown contamination, with 1,000 more farms yet to be tested. And so they started going and basically banning people from farming on all these farms. We're talking about thousands of acres that we can't grow food on anymore. And that's not as bad as the fact that the hundreds of thousands more of acres across the United States that shouldn't be farmed anymore. And I'm going to say it once again. How do you know that your stuff is coming from one of those farms? Look for that organic label. And I'm probably making a whole bunch of enemies with you guys. If you're mad about that, I'm sorry, but you can look into it yourself. You can look into it and see if what I'm saying is true or not. I'm just warning you. Do what you want with that information. East Tennessee, Sevierville. Aldi continues to have produce issues. While they have a decent supply, the quality is usually on the poor side. Cabbage and lettuce heads are tiny, wilted, or rusted. Last week, all the fresh okra was all covered in mold. This week, they finally got in USA berries. I will not eat Mexico berries. Every single container of blackberries was filled with gray mold. Staff told me this is why the price was marked down, because of the mold. It's like, there's mold in this. Yeah, that's why we marked it down. Shouldn't you pull that off the shelf? Anyway, they are now the same price as the Mexico berries. Wow. Yes, indeed, friend. Wow. Kay says, good morning, Steve. I live in Lynchburg, Virginia, near Liberty University. Good school, good school. One of our local, I almost went there for college, actually. One of their local Walmart stores, Neighborhood Market, has been out of stock of the 20-pound GV rice now for a few weeks. I'm finding that though I can still find it in some stores, it's not actually adding up to 20 pounds. A bag I put up yesterday came out to 13 pounds and some change. Just wanted people to know to weigh the food they're putting away to be sure that they have the amount that they're aiming for. Can't trust anything these days. Speaking of 20-pounders, Biggin says, Walmart 20-pound rice. It was finally available to order on Monday. I bought 5 bags. Just checked again and can only order it none on the store shelf. I spoke with 2 store associates and a manager about the issue. They searched their store device apps for it, did a deep dive to search further, and they were puzzled as well because it was showing as if the item was discontinued. But not head-scratchingly. They were confused. The 20-pound bags of brown rice were on clearance and were DC'd. So the question is, are the brown rice bags going to be discontinued too? They attributed it to warehouse stocking issues. We don't have a shortage of rice out there, supposedly, so buy truckloads of rice, dump it into plastic bags, and then ship it to the stores. The supply chain on this really, plastic bags, getting the plastic bags over to the printer, and then connecting the printed plastic bags with the rice is really as complicated as the supply chain is there. It's, shall we say, about as simple as you can get on any product out there in the world. And yet somehow we're having problems. The great Walmart in the great United States of America can't dump rice into a bag. Let me know what you guys think. Am I exaggerating? Am I exaggerating? No, I mean, like when you get like a can and it's got like 100 different chemicals in there, like I understand. If they don't have one of the chemicals, that just throws their cocktail off or something like that, right? It's hard to get hundreds of things together, and then the cans and the labels and the... Anyway. Susan says, Central Montana. Ground hamburger meat has doubled since all this started from the COVID mess. We buy the cheap stuff, not the good quality meat. A 10-pound chub is now $32. A week ago it was $30. Up $2 just in a week. Before all this, it was like $17. I worry and pray for people. Groceries are so expensive. And the party-sized bag of Lay's potato chips are now the same size as a normal size bag used to be. They used to be bigger. Family barbecue is going to be short some things, and the spread is a lot smaller this year. Although we spent more than ever than last time doing this, it is now unaffordable. Love Mama says, update, this time in Paisley, Florida, the Dollar General shelves are getting so thin. The laundry soap section has only a few items left on the shelves, and they keep getting worse over the last week. They haven't put anything back on them. The frozen section is full, most likely because they changed all the prices and nobody can afford them. For example, a 1-pound bag of chicken strips went from $5.99 to $7.99, and the small ice creams went from $3.99 to a staggering $8.49 for a pint. The store now has much more household goods than any food items. Back to DeLand, Florida, Walmart, the rice section is about empty. The spaghetti sauce is gone except for the expensive kinds, and the sour cream, cottage cheese, and cream cheese is wiped out. Ugh. I keep going on getting what y'all's can. If I could pronounce that all right, I'd be a Southerner. Ugh, keep on getting what y'all's can. Okay. Here in Pittsburgh, we don't say y'alls, we say yins. But that just makes us weird. I don't say that, but anyway. Serena Arena says, not quite sure what's going on here in northern Colorado, but the production of my garden at least has dropped tremendously this year. And a lot of you guys are saying very similar things. It's basically September, and I finally got 3 yellow-necked squashes, maybe 2 dozen tomatoes, and a handful of green beans. Normally they are coming out of my ears. I have a large garden and expanded quite a bit this year. No zucchinis, no watermelons, no pumpkins. Most of my green beans didn't produce. Peppers and 3 eggplants, which are different than eggs, but you know, they're not like plant-based eggs, right? During the first part of the summer, the overhead lines were nonstop. So us and our gardens are being sprayed like bugs. That's what a lot of people out there are saying, aren't they? That's what a lot of people out there are saying. Friends, you might want to stock up more, garden less. That's the direction I went in, mostly because I spend so much stinking time on this channel that I decided to just stock it up with canned goods and garden less, so that I have plenty of time to get my garden going if needed. But the thing is just, a garden is, if it works, great, but so often you run into problems. And whereas a can on the shelf is good as long as the seal doesn't break, but what's going to come out of your garden this year? You know, it depends. It really depends on a lot of stuff. And so I'm kind of a bird in hand kind of person rather than a bird in the bush. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about that. I know gardening is important. I certainly know that, but it's also inconsistent. It's important for us to learn those skills, though, for sure. Kevin says, Northeast Ohio, assisted living facility my daughter works at just put the C protocols back in place. Mandatory face cloths and testing 3 days a week. This is in Ashtabula County. Just so I don't get in trouble with all you guys, I also have a neighbor who is a professional farmer, and his farm wraps up around my house and everything like that. So I won't have to figure out gardening. I'll just have to do what he tells me to do. Anyway, that's really helpful. If you can get a professional that already knows how to do it and you can just do what they tell you to do, then you can focus on other stuff. Janny says, Somerset, Kentucky, out of organic Greek yogurt. RW says, update, Western Washington. My daughter went to Walmart, said she saw empty shelves, so it's happening here now as prices are still rising higher and higher. All right, this is the testimonial, and this just makes it all worthwhile. What we're doing here is important and is truly changing lives and saving lives. Roseanne says, Steve, you're such a blessing to your followers. You are saving lives and adding to the kingdom of God. Thank you. Living here in Southeast Fresno, you've reached into my life and have provided so much information, resources, light at the end of my tunnel. I had surgery on my foot for the 10th time this last Tuesday. I was confident in my doc, at ease, at peace with my boutique friends praying for me. I had no fear. The prescription for antibiotics never was called in, despite about 8 different calls to my doctor, the hospital, doc secretary. The doctor left the country on a pre-planned vacation the morning after my surgery. Reference Where There's No Doctors, other books you have spoken of. I took matters into my own hands, including, I believe, that took up on Jace Medical's antibiotics, right? Took matters in my own hands to save my own life. Certainly trusting in God was first on my mind. He has more planned for me. I cannot give it up and will never give up. I won't reference the resources you have suggested, but know I listened and was ready. You are saving lives. I will probably never meet you on this side of eternity. Friends, you guys sharing information, a lot of stuff that I share is coming from you guys. You guys are teaching me so much, and a lot of the stuff I am echoing back from your emails and your comments, and it is truly making an impact, and we are in this together. I don't mean that in a cliche, awful way that the government usually means that. I mean we're working together in this community to create something that is impacting people's lives, not only in the United States. I know most of the people here are in the United States, but I can't tell you how often I get emails from people from other countries talking about how much they've been blessed and benefited from interacting with our community here. To know that there's hope, that there are people out there, even if in other countries, that care about the same things, that see the same things that they are seeing. And so we're reaching into other countries, and it's tremendously awesome. But thanks so much for being a part of that. Please do keep your updates coming in. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold Group, who also helps make this possible, there's a link right there. If you want to get some more information, and if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report.